Welcome to Talking Technology with VI Labs. At VI Labs, we believe technology is the single greatest enabler for people with sight loss and all disabilities. If you're looking for the latest news and conversation on tech from a more accessible perspective, you've come to the right place.
Yes, indeed, you have. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Talking Technology with VI Labs, episode number 71. Hope you're keeping well. It's been a busy few weeks. I am back in Ireland, though. Sight Village has been and gone. Hope you enjoyed our last episode from the UK. Thank you so much for listening in, and thank you so much for your feedback as well. Many people got in touch with us to say that they enjoyed that, so thank you so much for that as well. Really appreciate it. And who knows, maybe we'll be doing some more travels in the future. Who knows? These are great things. It's been a busy time here in Vision Ireland. Technology, of course, always moving on. Just literally, I kid you not, about 15 minutes ago, before we started doing the podcast today, we got notifications to tell us that Oco, that's the really cool navigation app, and it also does some really cool stuff with road crossings and helping you guide you across road crossings if you're visually impaired. Oco is coming to Ireland, and not just coming to Ireland, it is in Ireland now. You can download it on the App Store. It's OKO. And we don't know, truthfully, whether it's good or not yet, because, it's literally just been released to us here in Ireland, and we weren't expecting this today. But it's available now, and it's been around in the US for quite a while. But now we get to have a go, which is really cool. So it will definitely, I'm sure, talk more about Oco in the future as well. But as I say, technology always moving forward. There is nothing staying still in this world. Ain't that the way it goes? But anyway, hello, welcome in. Hope you're keeping well. It's great to have you with us for a really exciting show today. We've got loads coming up, but of course, one of the things that we always like to encourage is for you to get involved, join the conversation, and as always, there are many ways that you can do so. So if you want to join the conversation here on Talking Technology, we'd love to hear from you. The number that you need, if you want to send us a WhatsApp voice note, it's 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. And remember, a WhatsApp voice note isn't a call. You want to find the little voice message button that's located down at the bottom right hand side of your screen, and you just double tap and hold that there to start recording a voice message if you're a voiceover user. And then when you want to send it, you lift your finger and it just goes whoop, off it goes. That's how you do it. 086 199 0011. Or if you want to get in touch with us the good old-fashioned way, you can do that too. You can send us an email to content@vi.ie. It's content@vi.ie is the way you can get in touch with email. So whether it's a WhatsApp voice note or an email, any way at all, we'd love to hear from you. So please do get in touch. And well, I was going to say loads of people have been getting in touch, and I probably say that a lot, but hey, it's really true this week. We have tons of people reaching out to us about everything from Sight Village. Seeing AI has been really popular over the last 2 weeks or so. There's been a whole lot going on, and joining me as always to tell me all about some of the voice notes that we've got in and to listen to them with me, it's Mr. Joe Lonergan. Joe, how are things?
Hi David, I'm all good. How are you?
Not too bad at all. Busy week in tech. We've got a good few bits. Seeing AI is getting a described video. We'll be talking more about that, of course, later on. But we've got a whole variety of voice notes this week, Joe. And we're starting off with Cambodia. You've never been to Cambodia, I don't think, Joe, have you?
No, I've never been that far, David. Never been to Cambodia. I hear it's a lovely, exotic kind of a place, and amazing to get a voice note in from there.
Absolutely. Are you well travelled, Joe?
No, I wouldn't be well travelled. I've done a bit of travelling. I've went to Italy and France, Spain, a lot of European countries. but I've never went further than that, David. How about yourself?
No, absolutely not. The furthest I've ever gone was the UK, which is kind of embarrassing. But who knows? Maybe some stage I'll venture further afield. But let's take a trip to Cambodia right now. We've got a voice note in from Cambodia. Here is what our listener had to say.
Hello, VI Lab podcaster. So, your question on the email regarding what assistive technology that I am excited in the future. I'm excited about assistive technology is the feature with blind and visually impaired people also rely on manual wheelchair like me has provide the GPS electronic wheelchair to guide blind and visually impaired people to follow direction has voice guidance built in. Turn right, turn left, or set the location for the wheelchair to go automatically. This feature is important for blind and visually impaired people. Not most blind and visually impaired people can walk. Blind and visually impaired people will have other disability issue, such as like me, I have physical disability. I need to rely on manual wheelchair, but unfortunately, I could not use my vision to see anything around me. So that will be cool when it has the wheelchair include the voice guidance.
It's a really interesting perspective, and one we don't think about that often, Joe. But many people, that listener is absolutely right, that many people who are blind or visually impaired do have secondary disabilities also. And that has a wide variety of things. Obviously, we've talked before on the podcast around those who are deafblind, but also there are many people who have other physical disabilities, maybe using wheelchairs. And using a wheelchair, I guess if you've low or no vision, can be quite difficult because it limits you, I suppose, in how you might use a cane or a guide dog. So this is a really interesting perspective in many ways, that idea of like self-guided wheelchairs, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a natural thought, really, I suppose, considering if you're listening to all the noise about self-driving cars and stuff that's going on, Waymo and all these things, why couldn't they build that into a wheelchair? I know cost is always an issue, but isn't it a natural kind of a theory or thought that maybe these design or development colleges, I hear them all going on about digital guide dogs and trying to develop a guide dog that's going to have sensors on it and all this kind of stuff. But why couldn't they maybe start building some of those sensors into wheelchairs? And at least if somebody has low vision, maybe give them some of the cruise control that goes along with all these automatic sensors and things like that. So that might help somebody like our friend there in Cambodia that sent us in that interesting voice note. So look, I've thought about that before, actually. I said to myself, that is one place. How would somebody with a white cane operate a wheelchair? Is there some automatic things that could be built into wheelchairs like this, even some things to detect accessible downward slopes? We've seen as Google Maps has an awful lot of stuff now to identify accessible buildings and everything. You know what I mean? If you can put in accessibility settings into Google and it'll identify the most accessible buildings and restaurants to enter. So there is a bit of scope out there, I think, for the development of this this technology that he speaks of.
Absolutely. It will be fascinating to see, I think, how technology like this evolves over the next little while. Like we've talked, on the podcast around things like Glide. We've had those conversations. You mentioned there the digital guide dogs. It's impossible to know, isn't it, where this stuff is going, and
yeah.
It is interesting to think about that idea of how this stuff can impact those who have multiple disabilities, whether that be mobility and sight loss or whatever the case may be. There's some really cool stuff hopefully coming down the line there. There's no shortage of ideas, which I think is the important part.
I hear a lot about this digital guide dog or maybe mechanical guide dog, whatever way they want to put it. But who says we want a digital guide dog? Just because you're blind, you don't want something that resembles a dog. Maybe someone might prefer to push something with sensors in it that resembles a suitcase. It might look more normal. At the end of the day, it is important also how we look for a lot of people, not everybody maybe, but for me and some of my colleagues and that are visually impaired, it's important not to look, not to stand out. We just want to get from A to B independently with the least amount of fuss possible. We don't want to. What happens if your digital guide? Funny name, isn't it? Digital guide dog. What happens if that runs out of battery? Do you have to carry the thing home? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
How does these things work in the long term, in the bigger picture? I'm not sure if they do. So I think maybe try and push some of these people away from that idea and more back to the mainstream options, even like the wheelchair or the movable suitcase, which you could fit a big battery into, or more sensors, or something that looks more mainstream.
Yeah, for sure. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for sending in that voice note. A really interesting topic. And who knows, hopefully the future it looks bright for these kind of things. Definitely some scope to improve technology in that area for sure. So thank you so much. A very valuable perspective. We've also got a voice note in from South Africa. This comment is referring to the new updates for Seeing AI. Seeing AI is now able to describe video, and this listener has some thoughts.
Hi, this is Siva from South Africa, Siva Modley. I tried the app about a week ago when I updated it. You can also go into it by pressing the menu button on any channel and then tapping on browse photos, and then you get to the same thing. I think also what needs to be remembered is the video is paused each time the description is provided, so it doesn't continue while the description is going on. That I think should be highlighted. Just another thought. PixieBot does descriptions as well of videos, and people could try that. I found that PixieBot provides text descriptions, whereas Seeing AI provides voiced descriptions. PixieBot was a little faster in terms of processing, and it provided a little more extra information, and I thought it was a lot more accurate, whereas Seeing AI had a few problems in terms of describing accurately. For example, it mentioned a pink ribbon around the dog's neck, whereas it was actually a hood. So we've got to check with a sighted person. Sometimes we could get incorrect descriptions, but I thought I'd just introduce the issue of PixieBot as well.
Yeah, again, really interesting. We've talked about, and we've had a conversation with the developer of PixieBot or PickyBot there recently on the show. And now Seeing AI is coming in, doing it in a slightly different way, as you said, pausing after descriptions. And we'll demo the new Seeing AI feature a little bit more. But Joe, how do you feel on that whole thing about accuracy? Because it does have a tendency to make some errors, unfortunately, which is interesting to note, isn't it?
Yeah, it is interesting to note. It's understandable in its first phase or its first update, as it's introduced, to have these hallucinations, they call them, when it makes little mistakes. So instead of saying the dog has a nice collar on, it might say he has a hood on or whatever. I don't know, or it might give you the wrong color. That's not the end of the world. I think at the end of the day, we're not dependent 100% on these descriptions. As long as we get a fair idea at the moment of what's going on, it's better than what we had. I do like the fact that it pauses the video to give the description, because it would be very annoying if it was given a description over what somebody was saying in the video itself, or it was taken away from the video a bit. So the fact that it pauses actually suits me at the moment. It might change my mind if they've done it in a different way and I got to see a different perspective. But at the moment, I like the way it pauses for a second, gives the quick description, then moves on. Because the videos are short anyway, it doesn't allow you to do descriptions on videos over 5 minutes long. I suppose pausing as well makes a little bit of sense for short videos, just to give it that extra little bit of time to get the description in there. So it's a good idea. The processing, yes, agree, it is a bit slow. Also understandable, as seen as it's sent off to a cloud and sent back to you. So that's understandable that it's a little bit on the slower side. Not too slow that frustrates me or anything, but a little bit slow. PickyBot, I didn't try. I know you tried that one, David. It didn't appeal to me as much as Scene AI. I like the mainstream ones, they're popular ones. And that the guest we had on, a very interesting developer, actually. Yeah, it was a great conversation. But I do prefer Scene AI. I think it's just the fact that I'm so used to using the app and stuff, and I like the way that it's separated into channels and things like that. But Seba makes a good point there that you don't have to go into the Scene channel. Like I mentioned in the demo, you can actually go anywhere in the while you're in the app and click on menu and click browse. But I do wish photos section was separated into videos and photos, so that then I could click on videos rather than flicking all the way through my photos to find a particular video, because I don't label my videos. Well, maybe I should start now. But trying to find a video, it's a little bit more, little bit laborsome, you know.
Sure. It is interesting, you know, you bring up that kind of comparison between the two. I actually find like it really depends on the video, I think, which works better, because if you have a video, I actually found if someone's talking in a video, and we'll hear this a little bit with the demo later on, if someone's talking in the video, it can actually be quite distracting in the way Seeing AI does it right now, because it kind of just can cut the person off mid-sentence to give its description and stuff like that. We'll look at that in a bit, and we'll talk about it more in a bit. But in terms of the accuracy, Joe, are you familiar with Caucamillish, the little short film that they have on the Leaving Certs?
Well, I can tell you now how clever I am. I know Caucamillish means cake. So,
there you go.
I'm not familiar with unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the current Leaving Cert.
I would say fortunately, actually, Joe. Caucamillish is a very old-fashioned, it's an Irish language short film that you study as part of the Irish curriculum, or used to study as part of the Irish curriculum on the Leaving Cert, right? And basically, there's the gist of Caucamillish. And there was actually a campaign from FAOC, one of the organisations in the sight loss space here, against Caucamillish, because the gist of Caucamillish is that a blind gentleman goes onto a train, right? Daniel, who's there, you might know a bit more about this as well, I'm not sure. But a blind gentleman goes onto a train, and he's sitting across from this lady on the train, and he starts eating a cake, and she starts making up all of this stuff about what's in his cake or whatever, and then he has an asthma attack, and she, the lady on the train, moves the inhaler out of his reach on the table. He's blind, so can't find his inhaler, and then subsequently poor Paul dies. This has been a very traumatic thing on the Leaving Cert curriculum for many years. It's since been removed.
Very controversial, David.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's one of the stranger things I've seen, for sure. But I did have Seeing AI and PickyBot try describe the video, actually, and rather than it describing Paul, who was the blind gentleman having the asthma attack and then subsequently dying, it actually made up an entire different story. PickyBot, this is, made up an entirely separate story where he's a hero and helps save your one, who was the evil one, basically, from having the asthma attack. It's a really weird, it just totally made up the story.
Did Seeing AI do something different?
Seeing AI refused to describe it at all, which was interesting.
Okay. So Pixie made up fake news and CNI refused to do it. Okay,
yeah, so there you have it.
That's weird, very weird.
Yeah, I don't recommend Caucamillish, by the way. It is definitely...
I didn't think so.
Yeah, no, definitely better off that it's gone, but there you go. Of its time, shall we say. But yeah, no, it is interesting, and it does underscore that point about accuracy, doesn't it?
Well, big time. That is a massive inaccuracy. It's wrong when it actually makes up its own conclusion or own story. I don't mind the odd what was it? I was saying illusion or
whatever.
Hallucination. I think I'm looking for. Yeah. I don't mind the odd hallucination, but when making up its own narrative, that's a different story altogether. I think I'd try and avoid that one then.
Yeah, it is interesting, and hopefully that will improve in time. But interesting to note that accuracy kind of side of things for sure. But thank you so much for that voice note. Really appreciate it. And someone else talking about Seeing AI and the new features in Seeing AI is our regular Edvard. Edvard sent us this voice note chatting about the subject of Seeing AI.
Hi guys, so regarding the Seeing AI video description, I absolutely love it. It's actually really good. I discovered accidentally, actually, I didn't know that it could describe videos. But however, it does have its ups and downs. Like the description of videos are limited, which is actually fair annoying, and you have to wait until the next day to get videos described again, and for each day it can only describe one video per day. Like, I do wish that it would get fixed, and I hope it would get fixed sometimes. Like, the message pops up saying this is to manage something or other, as this is a new feature. I don't know what it was meaning by that. But I just wish that it would get fixed soon enough. And because, if I'm the one watching videos frequently, and if I take a screen recording of a YouTube video and it's just music, like, I never actually tried screen recording a video and then get Seeing AI to describe it, but I guess it will probably do a great job. But overall, it's a great feature, and I absolutely love it. I actually did suggest, I think, to Seeing AI to add this feature a long time ago. Or was it Be My Eyes? I can't remember what I suggested it to, but I do remember I had this idea. But it's a great feature, and I love it.
Awesome, Edvard. Yeah, no, it is a great feature. I did run into this actually, Joe. It does have, it may have been one originally, but it's a 10 video limit per day now. And as you said earlier on as well, Joe, it's limited to 5 minutes. And sometimes it just doesn't even play ball with that. The Caucamillish clip that I shared was well under 5 minutes. It was only 2 minutes something. And for whatever reason, Seeing AI just refused to do it. So that does throw some spanners in the works. So certainly not perfect, but arguably better than nothing, though, Joe.
Oh, without a doubt, it's a lot better than nothing. Interesting to hear Edvard claiming he has given the idea to do this video.
They're stealing your ideas, Edvard.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think Microsoft going to be throwing you any money there for the patent anytime soon, Edvard, but I'm only joking. Look, we're delighted to hear that you're really enjoying the actual feature, because it is actually a very enjoyable feature to have on Seeing AI at the moment. What was it, 10? I didn't have any problem with the amount of times. I didn't go over the 10 now, to be honest, to test it. I think Edvard said he was only doing one video a day or something, but you have to realize it's in a cloud, in a server, and servers can get hot and overused, and they have to put limits on how many videos go through their server. So it's understandable. A new feature as well, everyone's using it at the moment, so it's going to have its limitations early. in time, I'd say we will be getting a bit more of an allowance as regard the amount of videos. I don't think anyone does more than 10 videos, unless you're in an occupation somewhere, or you might be updating Facebook stories or doing something like that. Maybe you could be doing a lot more than 10 videos a day. But I think I'm quite happy with the amount of space it gives me at the moment. Obviously, in time, I think I'd rather it did do videos that were more than 5 minutes long. Obviously, there is a reason for that as well. I suppose it's the capability of the server again. Back to Edvard. He did also ask on the help desk about does Scene AI work on older iPhones? Well, it works on older iPhones, but the newer version of Scene AI won't work before iOS 12. So that's probably our 7 or 6S just before that kind of a range, So some of the older iPhones will not describe video. But look, that's probably, we always encourage people as best they can to keep their software and their phones updated to the newest software. Look, as best as you could afford it anyway. But yeah, just to answer Edward's question. David, have you any more on that one?
Yeah, no, I think you covered it well there. I think it is interesting you bring up that side of things, like the occupation and how this kind of technology, maybe not yet, but in the future, how it could be used for someone who's working. Like I know there's been times here in Vision Ireland where I've been asked to assist with producing audio description for 1 or 2 videos here and there. And it would be fantastic to just be able to, do those visual checks myself without having to ask a sighted colleague. Not that anyone's ever given out about it, but still, you want to be able to do these things yourself. So I don't think we're there yet. I think we have a long while to go. But we're certainly moving in the right direction. And, with everybody spending money in the AI space now, it's only going to get better, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. Microsoft, Apple, and Be My Eyes and OpenAI together, all these companies are spending massive money on AI and getting these descriptions correct. I think the future is bright, even with the likes of Meta AI glasses. It's the future is definitely bright as regards getting descriptions of things, and that's all we want is descriptions of stuff. If our eyes are not working, the next best thing is getting something described to us. So I think the future is bright, definitely with AI, and describing real time stuff even is on the way soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's really cool stuff around the corner and always great to see. Edvard did send us in another message as well, just talking about one of the items he found really interesting from our coverage of Site Village.
Also, regarding your big question, one thing that stood out to me from the Site Village was the seeable holidays for visually impaired people. This sounds brilliant. I would really love to try it out. I did hear of Travel Eyes before, and they actually do the similar thing, and I would love to try them out as well. I don't know if you guys heard of the Travel Eyes, but it's kind of similar. They do a similar thing to seeable holidays as well, but that's one thing that stood out to me from the Site Village.
Yeah, you've actually been on a Travel Eyes holiday back in the day, Joe. I had heard of both Travel Eyes and Seeable, but you have a first-hand experience of it. How did you find it? Because it is a really interesting area.
That's right. It is a very interesting area. That was one of the pieces in the podcast you done last, David, when you visited Site Village. That was one of the sections I was most interested in myself. There was Travel Eyes. There is Travel Eyes. Still is Travel Eyes. They took a break, obviously, while COVID was on for a few years. There was a Vital Eyes as well. I don't know if they're still going, and there's Seeable Holidays. But yeah, I did use Travel Eyes years and years ago, so it mightn't be fair now to comment and give a full review of it or anything like that. But when I did go, I did find it excellent to have Sighted Companion on your holiday. You obviously pay more money for the holiday than the Sighted Companion. Sighted Companions get a discount in return. They have to help you. So I suppose when I say help, maybe guide you on your excursions and on your different sites and stuff like that. So and you're paired up with a different guide every day. There's could be 8, we'll say, vision impaired people on holiday and 8 sighted people, and you'd swap around, and it works well. I suppose it's not really a great holiday for a couple as such, but it's better for maybe a single person going and an exploring kind of a holiday. That would be my view of it. Other people might have a different view, and they're welcome to send in a voice note and give their opinion if they have been on holidays like this. Down the line, we might even talk about different technologies we can use on holidays as well, David. It would be an interesting conversation to have. As Seeable goes, I really like the sound of Seeable, and I've looked at their website. There's some very interesting holiday destinations, especially around Italy, in Sicily and different places like that. So that's one I think I wouldn't mind investigating myself, and I think Seeable is definitely an interesting company.
Yeah, for sure. I as I say, yeah, I'd heard of them. It's never something I looked into that deeply. I do find it fascinating, though. It's one that I would love to learn more about. And as Joe said, if people do have perspectives using any of those kind of, assisted, I guess you call them like assisted travel agent kind of, Joe, I guess, kind of services. If people do have experience with them, please do send us a voice note. I'd be really curious to hear your perspectives on it. But yeah, it is one of these things. I would be open to it. I do wonder, what kind of training they'd get, or like how they work, all that. There's a lot that I'd love to know about it. So maybe we'll check in with Seeable at some stage, but or Travelize, or one of those organizations. But fascinating conversation. And thanks for having a listen to that one, Edvard. It is one that is of interest to many people. Is that idea of accessible travel. It can be quite daunting, the idea of travel. So companies like Seeable and Travelize in the space, it really is good to have those options out there. So that is fantastic. So thank you so much for getting in touch. And listen, if you do want to join the conversation, we'd love to hear from you. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note to 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. Goodness, Joe, so many voice notes this week. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually. It's very nice though to hear from people from all over the world. I think Edvard is our only resident Irish man here, well, our adopted Irish man, and but great to hear from people all over the world, and just shows the interest in technology. And technology isn't just, it doesn't just spread to here and there. It spreads near and far, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, for sure. And look, loads of people are interested in the Seeing AI described videos. And Joe, you actually did a video over on the VI Labs YouTube channel of the Seeing AI described video. So you can watch that. If you do want the video of this, by the way, head on over to the VI Labs YouTube channel and subscribe over there. You can watch loads of these kind of cool things with video as well, if you do want to see that. But we do also have the audio of that here as well. So Joe, do you want to tell us a little bit about what we're about to hear before we hear it?
Yeah, well, I went for a walk with my dogs, and I decided to, I adopted a dog from somebody, and I said, I'll send you a video of how he's doing and how much he's enjoying himself. So this is the video anyway of him playing with, or her playing with her new pal Basil, and they're running around, and the video will explain itself after that, David, I think.
Awesome stuff. Let's have a listen.
Hi guys, I'm here today to tell you about Seeing AI's new update. So you might be familiar with Seeing AI. It's that great app from Microsoft that helps you recognize items. It also recognizes colors, products, faces, scenes, documents, short text, you name it. Seeing AI recognizes it. So they have released a new feature. This is an amazing feature, really, that recognizes and gives audio descriptions of videos. These videos cannot be any more than 5 minutes long. So let's give it a go and see what it's like. So I'm going to double tap on the Scene AI app now.
Google Map. Scene AI. Scene AI.
Let's slow down my voice a little bit.
Words. Speaking rate. 60%. 55%.
There we are.
Menu. But quick help. But take picture. Browse photos. Channel. Scene. Preview. Adjustable. Product. Document.
So I'm flicking through the channels here.
Short text.
Short text is usually the first one you see. So I'm going to flick back up now until I get to the Scene channel where this feature is available.
Document. Product. Scene. Preview.
And now I'm in the Scene channel. So here I could take a picture of something if I wanted to, and it will try and describe the image. But I'm going to go to Browse Photos and look for a video.
Browse photos. Button. In progress. Back. Button. Screenshot. Thursday. 14. Photo. Thursday. Photo.
I'm going to flick to the
photo,
right.
The 29th of October.
I'm going to flick to the right until I get to some video. I think I have a video on the 23rd of October here.
Photo. Video, the 23rd of October. Screenshot. Video, the 23rd of October.
Great, I found a video. I'm going to double tap on this video.
Expand. Video, the date, Wednesday. Expand. Date, toolbar, describe, button.
And I have a describe button. So I'm going to double tap on the describe button.
Cancel, button. Processing. Please wait while descriptions for the video are generated. This may take several minutes, depending on the length of the video.
We hear a nice tune, and that means the video is processing. It's getting sent to AI and getting processed, and hopefully it'll come back with a nice description.
A small dog is playfully rolling on a grassy field.
Zoom 1.0x.
Two dogs, one black and one white, are running towards each other on a grassy field.
Adjustable.
The black dog is chasing the white dog across the field. The two dogs are near a soccer goal, with the black dog in the lead. The black dog is running close to the camera, with its fur visible in detail.
Good girl,
The camera captures a close-up of the grass as the dogs continue to play.
Suki.
The field is empty, with the grass and field lines visible.
Basil.
The black dog is lying near the soccer goal, resting on the grass.
So there you go. That's an amazing audio description from Scene AI. What a start to this new feature. And if we know Microsoft Scene AI, it can only get better. Give this a try and let us know what you think. Thanks very much.
Yeah, it's interesting, Joe. I do, in a video like that context, the kind of pausing throughout to give you a little bit of an update on what the dogs are doing works really well, doesn't it?
It definitely does work well in that kind of context, for sure. I can see what you mean by videos with a lot of dialogue in them and stuff. If the voiceover has to come in and cut somebody off, yeah, it can be quite irritating. But I suppose beggars can't be choosers. I often use that saying.
Yeah, that's
but at the same time, I do agree with you.
Absolutely. And we can have a listen to a demo here. I tried it out with a video that I just took of a desk tour here. So you can hear my video sounds, I guess, slightly different to Joe's. But it gives you a good idea of how it sounds with a wider variety of videos, I guess. Okay, so I am in the Seeing AI app and I have got a video on my device, which is basically a very simple just run through of what's on my desk. So let's see how Seeing AI describes it, shall we?
Seeing AI, menu, button.
Okie dokie, so let's go to the menu.
11:3/11:37 menu, button. Close, but browse for help, button. Feedback, button. Help, browse photos,
And I'm going to go to browse photos. They should probably change that to change browse photos and videos, but there you go. And
video 11:34.
So there it is. So let's double tap to launch that.
Expand, video, date, Tuesday, back, button.
And there should be a describe button
Expand,
here.
but date, toolbar, delete, but describe, button.
There's describe, and I'm going to double tap now to describe, and we get the great Seeing AI
Cancel
music.
button. Processing. Please wait while descriptions for the video are generated. This may take several minutes, depending on the length of the video.
That's fair enough. And I'm going to turn voiceover off, so this feature is self-voicing.
Voiceover off.
And we just let it do its thing.
A close-up of a black microphone mounted on a boom arm.
Hey everybody, so I'm just
The microphone is shown from a slightly different angle, still mounted on the boom arm.
going to give a tour of my desk to
The microphone remains the focus, with a clear view of its mounting setup.
see how Seeing AI describes things. So
The microphone is seen from another angle, with part of a chair visible in the background.
here we have a microphone, and I'm going to move
An audio mixer with various buttons and sliders is shown on a desk.
over, and we have got an
A hand is interacting with the audio mixer, pressing one of the buttons.
audio mixer here.
The hand continues to interact with the audio mixer, adjusting controls.
With a number of different buttons, and there's also
The audio mixer is shown with headphones placed next to it on the desk.
cables and USB stuff out the back there.
A hand is touching the headphones, which are next to a laptop and an iPad.
I'll move over. There's a pair of headphones.
The iPad is displayed, running audio software with various colorful buttons on the screen.
And next to that, there is a
The iPad continues to be the focus, showing the audio software interface.
laptop and an iPad.
The iPad is shown from a slightly different angle, still displaying the audio software.
They are both running audio software
The iPad remains the focus, with the audio software interface visible.
at the moment. But yeah, that is just
The view shifts back to the headphones and iPad, with cables visible on the desk.
the basic section of my desk. And there you have it. That is how it describes that video. It is interesting because it's obviously purely paying attention to the visuals right now and ignoring the audio, because I did some describing there. What would be really cool is if it could kind of listen to me a little bit, and then, you know, when there's bits that I'm not saying, or where there's gaps in stuff, more like traditional audio description. But I think like we will get there. And like this is, maybe I'm being unfair on it here, because I think that the real benefit of this is going to be for videos where you don't have speech. But in time, we will absolutely see this improve, I'm sure. And it is going to be a very, very useful tool.
The cheek of it, David, ignoring your description and then just using its own. You know, I think that was very, very cheeky of that AI.
Yeah, look, I do think, though, we are going to get to a point where it does make sense that this stuff is just going to get better, though.
Of course, yeah. I was pulling your leg there in the end. But yeah, I see what you mean. I think as the artificial intelligence gets more intelligent, I think they will consider, I suppose, integrating it better with videos with speech. Do you know what I mean? So I think this is, as I said, this is version 1. I know they've done a lot of beta testing, but version 1.1 or version 2 is surely going to be a little bit better. So we'll watch this space, David. I'm looking forward to the next update.
The real game changer, though, is going to be when we get to a point where this can do something like, you know, the quality of audio description for a television show. And we're still a million miles away from that right now. But if you think about what that could mean in the future, right? Like if you think, let's say, YouTube videos, right? They have the ability to have auto-generated captions in YouTube videos. That's been a feature that's existed on YouTube for years. But what if down the road, as this thing really, really ramps up and improves and gets better and better, you could just have auto-generated audio description as well? Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be amazing, Dave, wouldn't it?
That would be a game changer, I think, for so many things, Joe.
Totally. Like a lot of videos, if I hear like they have a music background with no narration or whatever, I'll just turn it off and move on. Whereas if I had an auto-generated audio description, there's a good chance I'll watch it. So it's in their interest to make this I suppose feature work on everything, And look, I know maybe the bad point or the negative was there might be some audio describers out of business or out of pocket, but things I suppose move on, and if the thing does get so good, it has an option of making all TV or all content accessible for us.
And that's where the real potential, I think, is. And look, it is one of these things, there are some audio describers who are going to be nervous, I'm sure, about technology like this. I think we do have to be careful in how we use it. And I think there will always be a market for human written and read audio description. It's just going to evolve the industry for sure. I think right now, stuff like Seeing AI and apps like Seeing AI, Pickiebot, all of those, they're totally ignoring stuff like a video sound. They're just purely looking, what does it visually see? And it's just giving a spiel based on what it sees. Whereas I think there's a lot more nuance in videos and stuff like that it needs to get yet. But that's all stuff for the future, I guess, isn't it?
Definitely. I think Microsoft Seeing AI they're starting to see their vision of what they had originally when they set up the project, I suppose you could call it. It is a project at the end of the day. A part of their organization has set this up as a research project, but they are starting to see their vision come to fruition right now. Originally, they had a promotional video of somebody wearing a pair of glasses, and they were seeing descriptions of things happening in real time, like maybe children playing in a playground and describing the colour of the ball and all this kind of stuff. That was their original promotional video, and that's over 10 years ago. So if it's finally starting to get there. This is probably the initial step of it getting there, and maybe 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, who knows? They will have a device that will be wearable and be able to describe things in real time. That's where I think they're going, and a bonus will come of audio descriptions on YouTube videos and real time TV videos and all that kind of stuff. So that's my take on it, David.
Well, when you think about how far we've come in the last 2 years, to think that, I'm trying to think, this time 2 years ago, I don't think Be My AI even existed at all, which is wild to think about how far we've come, both in terms of the hardware, like the glasses and the scanners and stuff like that, like the Hark AI that we had on the podcast last episode, right up to just the apps, and so many of them. Like there's Be My AI, Seeing AI, Ira Access AI, Envision AI, Pickiebot. There's so many of them, and that competition has been so healthy in the space over the last little while. It really has been, and hopefully it continues to be, a golden era for accessibility, which is always brilliant to see. But there you go. Joe, any final thoughts as to where you'd like to see it go in the future? You're looking forward to this?
Yeah, definitely looking forward to new technologies like this in the future. I think OpenAI burst onto the scene, and AI was always there, but finally all these companies have decided to trust AI and let it do its thing. And I think that's the difference. That's what changed. So that's why Be My AI is probably one of the most used features in any app among the blind community at the moment, or vision impaired community, whatever way you want to put it. It is definitely one of the most used describers, if you want to put it that way. It's kind of good, I suppose, as well, that I don't know what they call themselves, competitors, but they look like competitors to me, Microsoft Seeing AI and Be My AI. They've forced each other to up their game. So, as I said, the more trust they put in the AI, the more chances they'll take, and the better, I suppose, the more data that will go into the whole ecosystem, and it will get better as we go along and introduce itself to whether it be Meta AI glasses or other forms of smart glasses, I think it has to be a good thing. Even wearables, there might be some sort of a wearable camera that people wear, whether it be on a pea cap or their shirt or something. Some people mightn't like to wear glasses, so there has to be other ways of introducing this, and the great minds out there will improve this product, David, to make it a usable everyday option.
But you know, it's funny, just as you say it, I never thought of someone putting like a camera on a hat, because it is like everyone assumes glasses. I don't know, I'm a bit iffy about wearing glasses, but I'd wear a hat much quicker. It's funny.
Yeah, peak hat with a tiny camera on it would be an option. I'm sure they've thought of all this. It's just trying to get it to work in such a way that makes it usable for the everyday person.
Yeah. There you have it. Joe, thank you so much as always, and thank you to everybody who got in touch and got involved about that and a whole variety of other things as well over the past 2 weeks. Thank you so much for that. If you do want to get in touch with us, a reminder that you can send us an email to content@vi.ie if you'd prefer to do it through text, or you can send us a WhatsApp voice note. The number you need if you wish to do that is 086 199 0011. That's 086 199 0011. We've tech news coming up next, but a reminder before we do that, if you want more information about technology, maybe you're just getting started with technology, we've got a whole variety of online training courses and stuff like that available. If you go online to vi.ie, check out our events page. We've got some really cool stuff coming up. There's a Braille webinar on Thursday exploring all things about Braille displays, and we've got a whole variety of other courses coming up too, so please do check it out. And if you want to get involved, do please send us an email, training@vi.ie, if you'd like to get in touch on that. But hey, it's Talking Technology News time.
This is Talking Technology News.
With your latest Talking Technology News, I'm Daniel Dunn. The Blindshell Classic 3 smartphone for the blind has been released. The new version of the button-based smartphone now has a number of new features, including a new AI assistant called Luna and a new chat platform called Tandem. You can also now install third-party apps on the Blindshell for the first time. We've tested with apps such as RTE News and Easy Reader, and while the third-party apps may not work as well as the native apps, it is still good that they are available. A touchscreen has been added to deal with the new third-party apps, but the design of the phone remains almost identical to its predecessor, the Blindshell Classic 2. Classic 2 remains on the market, costing €498 from Vision Ireland, or €529 if purchased directly from Blindshell. Classic 3 is €615 from Vision Ireland, or $649 from Blindshell. It's a good phone, but it isn't perfect either. You can read a full review of the device now on the Vision Ireland website or in the latest version of our Tech on Tap newsletter. Elon Musk-owned company Tesla has surpassed a $1 trillion valuation following the win of Donald Trump against Democrat nominee Kamala Harris in the recent US presidential election. Trump has already announced that he plans for Elon to run a new Department of Government Efficiency, a move which might benefit some of Elon's businesses. Elon has many companies of interest to those with sight loss, as Tesla are working on a self-driving vehicles and Neuralink are working on the blind sight implant. The only thing that we really know is that we have no idea of what's coming next. And finally for now, David, cue the royalty-free sad music please. This is very hard to read. Thank you. Apple have seemingly discontinued the Lightning to headphone jack adapter. When the headphone jack was removed from the iPhone 7 back in 2016, Apple launched this little adapter allowing the user to connect headphones with a 3.5mm headphone jack to the new phone. It has become less popular as time moved on, mainly as a result of the proliferation of AirPods and the fact that iPhone connectors are now changing again, replacing Lightning with the EU-mandated standard USB-C. The New York Post reports that the adapter has been out of stock on Apple's website in both the UK and US for some time now, with it understood that the device won't be making a return. This isn't the end of the world, though, as third-party options are still readily available, but it seems as often as it happens, technology and society is simply moving on. So, are you heartbroken at the loss of this humble little adapter? Please let us know with a WhatsApp voice note. And that's it for now. Remember, if you want more great technology content from VI Labs, why not subscribe to our VI Labs YouTube channel? Just search YouTube for VI Labs Accessibility. But for now, it's back to you, David.
Daniel, this is awful sad, isn't it?
Very.
Tragedy.
Absolutely.
Tragedy. Did you ever have one of those fancy adapters?
Yes.
Did you? Oh, so
Yeah.
tell me. You were one of the many people actually that had one. How did you find it? They were really in an unnecessary creation in some sense, because they could have just had the headphone jack to stay there, really.
Yeah, they could have. Yeah. I don't know. Like it was great that you could connect your old favorite headphones, to your new iPhone that decided to remove the headphone jack. But I suppose, look, as time has moved on, the headphone jack is nearly a thing of the past now, and everything's gone Bluetooth. So yeah, it was a great little piece to have, because when you have a good set of headphones, you might have paid out a nice few pound for them. You want to get more out of them, see them through to the end of their natural life. So it was a great stopgap, absolutely. I thought it was a good little piece.
Yeah, and of course those third-party options still available, which is good.
I don't know. Are they as good unless you're kind of, buyer beware? Make sure it's a good branded one, because you could lose sound quality by going for the cheaper brands. Just my experience.
No, it's valid. I think you need to check reviews and stuff like that. Like, realistically, everybody would. If you're shopping for stuff like that, you're probably using something like Amazon. So check the reviews and stuff is always a good bet.
That's great advice there, yeah.
But interesting stuff, and rest in peace to the humble headphone adapter. You will absolutely be missed by the many people who had one since the iPhone 7. Joe, you interested there? The Blindshell Classic 3. What do you think of it? How do you feel about those kind of phones that are dedicated for people with sight loss?
I think it's a great idea to have an option out there, a tactile option. Something with buttons, which are regular, we'll say, phone keypad. It was interesting to know that you mentioned in the news it has a touchscreen on it as well, so that it helps you operate some of the extra apps. And there's a tandem app on it too that is something similar to WhatsApp and stuff like that. So look, I think the Blindshell needed an update. It's got one. It also has an assistant, a virtual assistant. So Luna, I think the virtual assistant is called.
Yeah.
I haven't got a chance to try it yet, David, but I'm looking forward to getting my hands on the phone and giving it a test. But yeah, I think it's a great idea to have a tactile option. Not touchscreens don't suit everybody,
That's
So not everybody likes the iPhone or likes your Samsung Galaxies and stuff like that. So I think it's great to have that option out there.
Do you know, I've got actually just in my hand as we speak, right? I've got a Blindshell Classic 2. Some of the people listening, I'm sure, will be familiar with the Blindshell Classic 2. And on in my right hand, then I have the Classic 3, and they feel absolutely identical. Like the buttons are in the same place, the screen is in the same place. Everything, I guess, feels really the same. There's a slightly different texture, very slightly different texture to them, and they do have a different color. In this case, I've got the red Blindshell Classic 2 that used to come in and still does come in red and black, and the new Classic 3 comes in a blue kind of color and what they call golden sand. I've got the golden sand version here. But they are good phones. Arguably, I think a lot of it could have been just a software update, it isn't particularly new hardware. They did speed up the chips a little bit, but they're playing the same game as everybody else, really, aren't they? It's no different to Apple Intelligence requiring you to have a really new phone model at the end of the day, isn't it?
No, but in fairness to them, they haven't updated it in a few years. So I think they needed parts of it to be updated, probably to support Luna and maybe the Tandem app and
the touchscreen,
the touchscreen and third-party app. So I think the update was needed. I wouldn't put the argument that they didn't need an update, especially with feedback that they're getting from customers and stuff. The Blindshell users want some of the latest apps and access to some of the latest apps. So I think they had to update, and it's a good option. It's expensive, not overly expensive, but still expensive. So call a spade, but it's still a good phone. I think it's a good option out there for the people that like their phone to have buttons.
Absolutely. A note for the Vision Ireland pricing. Vision Ireland pricing is only available in Ireland, just so you know, because if we started shipping at cheaper prices than Blindshell all around the world, I'm sure the poor folks in Blindshell will be mad at us. But there you go. If you are in Ireland, it is slightly cheaper to purchase through Vision Ireland as well. So just keep that in mind if you do want to purchase one. And don't purchase one sight unseen either. It's always good to try these kind of devices. So do absolutely check them out. But finally, Joe, as well, Elon Musk is having a good day. Tesla has hit over $1 trillion valuation. Absolutely crazy money, isn't it?
Unbelievable, really. His car making business, I suppose, it's worth more than all the other car manufacturers put together, which is amazing, really. Probably happened almost overnight there. The price in the stock market went up by a massive amount, mainly because Trump got the green light to go back into the White House. Elon was a massive supporter of Donald Trump, as we could see on Twitter every week, and it helps Elon get over a lot of red tape. So I think Donald Trump has offered to give him tick the box to say he will allow self-driving cars in more states than one. So it will allow Elon to manufacture more cars and make a lot more money, I suppose. That's one option, but in his eyes, it'll make the world a better place and allow self-driving cars all over the US to start off with anyway. I suppose one argument we could say is it a good thing for blind and vision impaired people that self-driving cars are coming down the road a little bit quicker? So that might be a positive take from it all. And I suppose the more battery-powered cars, in some people's eyes, it does it's better for the environment. I know where the electricity comes from is debatable. That can cause more problems. But we won't get into all of that debate right now. But yeah, I think the self-driving aspect of it, I know you mentioned Neuralink. Well, there is a lot of controversy over the Neuralink thing, whether it's actually a story or it's really happening. I think personally it's only a story right now. There's nothing been developed microchip-wise for people that are totally blind or anything like that. I think it's more of a story that has exploded a little bit, that has took legs, and I don't think there'll be any Neuralink for a long time. But the self-driving cars, it's inching closer, and it's one positive from the election.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know whether I'd say it's necessarily a positive, but there you go. Daniel, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, like it's the self-driving cars, I think bring them on, because for a wider society benefit, I think they're going to be a great thing. In this country, we're very aware of road traffic deaths and all that, and I think self-driving cars are definitely going to help move those numbers further down. We've done great work in this country getting them down, but we can always go further. For social social outings and all that. Self-driving cars, fantastic. Even for younger people who may just need a self-driving car. They haven't got the experience to drive by themselves yet. So plenty, for the wider society. I think
For sure.
it's going to be brilliant. The only thing I can see being problematic is insurance. And often I think, insurance are kind of naturally be kind of, standoffish when something new like this comes along. But I think when it gets there and gets going, and, America, I suppose, is a great place for trying out all these things. It'll get ironed out, and soon after, I think it'll be welcomed, and you'll probably hear, obviously with elections going on at the moment, but maybe in a future election how probably become part of parties' manifestos that they'll legislate for self-driving cars in Ireland, and how we're going to have to move forward on that front. So look, it's extremely interesting.
Absolutely fascinating stuff. And hey, with all those elections happening in the States, Joe, we had a very interesting statement in during the week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. You're going to play it, David?
I might as well play it. We had this into us during the week.
Hello to all my Irish friends. I have many Irish friends, millions and millions and millions, actually. I just want to let you know that I'm so excited to be taking the lead again in America, and I look forward to making Vision Island great again. I used to be a great host. Everyone said it. I was the greatest host The Apprentice ever had. I'm going to do some real work with David and Joe to make talking technology much, much better. My good friend Elon is going to help with that.
Well, actually, Donald, I was thinking that we might not need David and Joe. We could just replace them with AI. It would be much more efficient. Anyway, we'll have this discussion later.
Agreed. Anyway, thank you all for listening to my message, and have fun.
I think I need to retire, Joe.
Well, I like that. I like that voice note until Elon interjected.
I'm safe, lads.
There you go, Daniel. You'll always need a newsreader. You see, there you have it.
I'll be kept for the news.
There you have
You'll
it.
always need someone in the background. Yeah, exactly. So look, but we won't accept the Donald and Elon too quickly. But I'll take his idea of self-driving cars, all right. But other than that, we'll leave them there in the background. Thanks for the message all the same.
Absolutely, we'll let them all be over there. It's interesting times ahead for sure. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a few extra self-driving cars out of it. You never know. But hey, listen, if you want to comment on anything, weird tech news this week, wow. If you want to get in touch with us to share your perspective on any of the tech news, we'd love to hear from you. You can send us a message on WhatsApp 086 199 0011. But now, well, it's quick picks time.
It's time for VI Labs Quick Picks.
Yes, indeed it is. And quick picks this week, well, there is, oh my goodness, there's more politics. There is an election right around the corner. And accessible voting, it's an area that we've talked about on the podcast before. We had the Electoral Commission on. But how are things working this time around? Because, hey, it's a general election this time around. We're voting for those to send to the Dáil. So, Joe, what's happening? You have some of the details for me. How can you vote if you are visually impaired or blind? How does that all work?
Well, you can vote if you're vision impaired or blind with some help. I suppose that's one way of doing it. It's not ideal, we'll say. My opinion on the whole voting system is not ideal, and I wish it was more accessible. But you can, in my case, I'll have to speak about myself, as I only know how vision impaired I am compared to somebody else. But in my case, I have to go into the polling office, and I try to go in at a time that's not too busy and meet with the presiding officer. I'll have to ask the presiding officer, can he help me, I suppose, tick the box 1, 2, or 3, or 1, 2 entry, whatever I choose to put in and whoever I choose to vote for. Before I go down, I will do a bit of preparation by, I suppose, going into the necessary websites to read about the people in my constituency. There's also free phone numbers they're provided on. There's a link to them on our website. Isn't that correct, David?
Yeah, there will be soon. So there is going to be a list of free phone numbers available on our website and the website of, here's a fancy department name for you, the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage on their website as well. And those will be available soon. Those numbers aren't live yet. I guess all of the candidates that are running was only confirmed there recently. So those numbers are still being prepared and so on and so forth. But those will be available on the website in due course too before the election. So do keep an eye out for those too.
Yeah, so there'll be free phone numbers that you can call in connection with your own constituency, and it will read out the candidates in order of number. And if you have low vision, also they will provide a template to go over the polling card. It's a transparent template with spaces in it, boxes and spaces that you can tick beside each candidate. There's also Braille beside each number to signify 1 to 10 or 1 to 1 to whatever number it goes up to in your constituency. This is, I suppose, there's different views on this. My view is it's not, it's accessible for some and not for all. So, and then there's also postal voting, but the thing is you would have had to register for postal voting before now. So the deadline for registering for postal voting was 2 days after the dismissal of the Dáil. So before the Dáil was dismissed to get ready for this election. And postal voting is something you can do from your home, but you have to meet certain conditions, and you would have had to register on the election website and meet certain conditions to do postal voting. Also, if you live in a nursing home or other institution, there will be a presiding officer visiting those on a certain date, and you can vote from there also. I'm not sure if there's anything else you want to add to that, David.
There's a piece on the journal.ie actually came across it there the other day, and for every constituency you can go in and select your constituency out of the list, and it'll give you a list of all the candidates that are running in your area, so you can kind of get to know a little bit more about them. They're in a list format, but you can actually go in and on each candidate's profile, I guess, and read a little bit more about them. But I think a lot of people have remarked before that the journal.ie is quite accessible from voiceover and screen reader users. So I think it might be a handy one to look up if you're unsure, I guess, of the candidates that are running in your area. And in some cases, I think not all those telephone lines have been set up yet, because the close of if you wanted to run as a candidate was just Saturday, so I'm sure it's just taking a wee bit more time to get the phone line set up. But in the meantime, if you did want to explore who your candidates are, you can go to the journal.ie into the GE2024 section and look up your constituency from the list there.
There you have it.
It's important as well to be able to have the right to vote in secret, so you can mention to your presiding officer, there is, in a lot of polling offices, there is cubicle areas that they can bring you into to help you vote. And if there wasn't a cubicle area, they can actually clear the whole polling station for you, and you can vote on your own until you're finished, and then they can let everybody back in again. So it's important to vote in secret, and for most people anyway, not to influence the vote on any other candidates or anything like that. So have you any other thing to add to that, David?
Just two small things. One other thing to note is if you do have someone that you trust, or a family member or someone like that, bearing in mind that they can't be a candidate, they can assist you to vote as well. You can only each individual can only assist up to 2 people to vote. So just keep that in mind. That may be important to note if you're coming from a visually impaired family or you're voting with a group. So just keep that in mind. And the other thing And this is something that can be handy as well, that the Electoral Commission told us last time that they were on the podcast that you can use assistive apps in polling stations. So like Seeing AI or Be My AI, if you do want to actually check that your vote has been put down correctly or whatever, you want to verify that, let's say, you're absolutely welcome to use those apps. They do suggest that you mention that to the polling centre staff beforehand, just to avoid any confusion, but they've been clear that that is actually allowed, so just keep that in mind as well. But look, it's always good to vote. It is a bit of a difficult process, I think it has to be said at times, unfortunately, and certainly could be a lot easier, but yeah, always good to do it at the same time, Joe, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is good to vote and have your say. You're going back to your companion also. Make sure your companion is over 16 years of age, so a child cannot help you. Just these things have to be mentioned just to make sure there's no embarrassing moments for you going in and you know where you stand. Yes, I agree. Voting needs to get more accessible as well. I know they had a lot of country with voting machines and things, and that's definitely not the road to go down. But I know in other countries like Iceland and stuff, the voting is 100% accessible and done online. And I think maybe we should take a leaf out of their book. But we have to talk about the current situation we are in right now, and we have already covered some of those points.
Absolutely. So listen, happy voting that's taken place not this coming Friday, the Friday after. So by all means, do let us know how you find the whole process of voting, how you think it could be improved. If you have ideas, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. Feel free to send us a WhatsApp voice note. You can do that to 086 199 0011. So thank you so much for that. But hey, that is about our show this week. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed the show. We've got a few shows left coming up this year. And if there is any feedback you'd like to send us, as always, we'd love to hear from you. content@vi.ie. And thank you so much, as always, for getting involved. This isn't our podcast, it's your podcast, so please do stay interacting with us. We love hearing feedback, suggestions, what you want to hear. We love hearing all of that stuff, so please do let us know. But for now, that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time for another episode of Talking Technology with VI Labs. See you then.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Technology podcast with VI Labs. If you'd like to support our show, please visit vi.ie/donate. Talking Technology is proudly sponsored by IA Labs, the market leader in digital accessibility services. IA Labs, digital inclusion, your legal obligation.